Hi folks! Have you noticed how often I say hi folks? Are you folks or are you not? It doesn't matter. Hi folks! It's Champagne Friday again! I feel very relaxed and everything because there's no pressure. I can do everything wrong, which is not very often that happens, but I might do that and I don't bother. Because what am I going to do? I'm going to have a blind tasting. You know, the thing that I got famous for, Legion d'honneur, blah, blah, blah. Everything is very much based on my abilities and skills in blind tastings. But skip that. We're not thinking about me at all. What I want you to see right now, I want to encourage you to do this on your own level. So what is blind tasting? Is it boring? Is it fun? It's extremely fun. When you do it the first time, probably you're out hiking somewhere very wrong, and then it might not be as fun as if you pinpoint and spot everything, of course. But as soon as you've been tasting a little bit more, let's say the third, the fourth time or something that where you have it blind and you recognize something similar that you had before, as soon as you get to that point, blind tastings is extremely fun. So I think it's like this. Blind tasting is the only way of really understanding your own taste. And when you know your own taste, you can appreciate much better the things that you're drinking, that you're picking, when you're just enjoying a bottle at a champagne hiking or at the dinner table or with your romantic friend or whatever. So that's the reason. This might be the most boring Champagne Friday film you ever seen because I will be silent for quite a long time. So I hope they will edit with some lovely music that fits my beautiful face and this extraordinary background of Essingeleden, which is one of the most famous and hardly trafficked bridges in Stockholm and in Sweden. I don't hear anything because I'm in a beautiful house and I'm extremely relaxed. So is it a pure blind tasting that I'm going to do right now, or is it a semi-blind? It's a semi-blind or a little bit something in between, because I know it's 9 new champagnes that I haven't tasted before. So things I do very often. Björnstjerne poured them just before we started to film here. I haven't put my nose into them at all yet. I know that they're all coming from the same producer. The producer is the one that we're very proud of in Sweden, is Hatt and Söner, because there are some Swedish guys who just love champagne and wanted to do something, and I was among the people who were a little bit reluctant to give them any credit for doing it because I thought it was too difficult, it would take too long time. But they start a little bit slow, becoming better for each year. So both vinification-wise and even storage-wise and technique-wise and everything, they're also buying some vineyards. And today there's some connections with Agrapar as well. So there's a lot of things happening in Côte Blanc with Hatt and Söner. Hatt och Söner is the name in Swedish, which Söner is sons. So that's the translation. So 9 new champagnes from them, no clue what it is, except one thing that I know must be around. It's the Chatillon. You know, Chatillon is one of the most famous vineyards in Le Mesnil-sur-Rocher. I've been drinking so much of it from Pierre Peters. There are some other growers as well that have it into blends or in the pure form as Bertois Lebrun and Robert Moncuy. And many wants that single vineyard, and I know it's among here. And it has such a special perfume, so I hope that I will spot that one. Otherwise, no clue. Probably all Blanc de Blancs, all Côte Blanc, but not even that I'm sure of. I've made many films, especially in the masterclass. You can see the technique and things like that, but I won't do that. I will now just start, make the tasting. Underneath here are the correct bottles. Here I have the poured glasses, the 9 glasses in front of me. So I will start. Almost forget that you are there. Number 1. very toasted, very reductive, not so heavy, a little bit shy. I got a hint of something just by looking here. It's taller, it's probably a Magnum, and when I put down my nose, it says, yes, it might be, because those reductive notes, you have a lot more in Magnums. And it's paler than the others, actually. So it's a very young wine, and it's, by visual impression, cheating a bit, but I happen to see that, so why not admit it? Second one, on the nose. Much fatter, richer, less refined on the nose. Well, I go back to the first one. Normally, I just give a sniff of all, and then I go back with a taste. Should I do it like I always do? Yes, of course. Stupid me. Third. Ooh, wow. This is a beauty. And it's completely different from anything I had tasted from Hatt and Söner before. You actually have this tangerine mandarin note, so it's probably the Chatillon. I think it's 18, which is the first year. Yeah, probably that. There's a beautiful perfume, not in any way similar to the others. Number 4, much more maturity, not the same elegance, tricky to come directly after. Rather boring, but I think most people will like it. There's nothing wrong, it's just it doesn't have the tension. 5. Younger again, but also a typicity of fatness, a very low dosage, I will guess. Classic Chardonnay with a little bit of nuttiness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow, this was nice. Again, a little bit stricter. I like their wines when they are more elegant, a little bit more strict, a little bit more terroir driven, a little bit more chalky. As soon as they get a little bit too much oxidative aromas and slightly fatter, I think they are less interesting. It could be the other way around with other producers, but here I think this house style, they should search more for the refinement than for the bold richness. And then we have the next one, about the same style, but more expressive, richer, a little bit more cloying, a little bit fatter on the first nose. A note that comes back in many of them is licorice, producer typical note. Number 8. Whoa, this is good. This is really good. Here you have the stylish style. The stylish style. What is that? It's this one. Aiming a little bit towards, this lovely toasted coffee notes, the Dom Perignon, what you want to have, or the part in Dom Perignon, which is coming from a little bit late disgorgement or more reductive vinification. Hint of oak, but really good, really good. Last one, probably because of the lineup, you can guess that Björn has been pouring something big and rich and impressive. That's what we normally do at the end. It's bigger, it's slightly more mature than the previous one. It's also very nice, but on the nose, quite good harmony, a little bit lazy, but not as good as number 8. Okay, I'm gonna taste now. Put on the music. Okay, I'm now ready for writing down my impressions, and of course what I will do, that's also important to mention, that because some people think that every wine journalist, if they blind taste something and they have an impression, they won't change it. They will say it's extremely good. I have an awful example that we just discussed with some friends yesterday. It was when I just started to taste champagne, and I thought everything that I read about was correct. And there was a very famous magazine. They made a big rating of 25 different champagnes. And some parts of the list was quite accurate, but there's one thing that I come back to time to time. The best one, number 1, was Moet Chandon Brut Imperial. The last one was Dom Perignon 1980. Is that possible? Well, with bad bottles, but then you need to retaste. If you have correct bottles, of course it's not correct. Why can I say that? Isn't it up to anyone to say what is good or not? Yes, but it's also a question of pure quality. And if it wouldn't been any differences, it wouldn't be any reason for winemakers putting all this effort into making great stuff. And of course, when Moet Chandon receives all the grapes, work everything as good as they can, they know they can't produce 30 million bottles of Dom Perignon. They need to make a simpler wine in bigger quantities and to have a crème de la crème from the best places. So that the pick from the winemaker should be the best is the worst is of course not true. So when that happens to me, it's never happened all that way, but it happens to me sometimes that I don't fully understand the wine when I taste it blind, and I look at the label and I see what it is, and I might have missed something. I might change a little bit. So for me, it's very important starting with blind tastings, but don't think that the result from blind tasting says it all. It's very much so that you can adjust from retasting, understanding the origins and the vinification methods. That's the way you should do it. So what I think now, when I won't guess exactly what is what, but I will say the first one is a Magnum, because what I saw from there, and it's a rather young one. Then number 2, I don't got a clue. Number 3 is the Chatillon. It must be, because it got this tangerine, mandarin, passion fruit, a little bit of biscuits that are coming, some nougatine and things like that as well. But also some licorice, some hawthorn, which is not typical from there, but it's so different from the others. And for me, it's already the best wine. So I really hope it's the Chatillon. Then all the others, I will say they are basically becoming older and older. At the end, there's a quality race from what we were in the start, and they're becoming older and older, and they're quite young. There's, of course, we know they haven't been working. They started in 11, 12 or something like that. So it's probably at the end something at that age. But anyway, I would say that the second from the finish, which I'm not sure about the vintage of that one, but it's so refined, it's so clean. That's my favorite, number 8 of those, with the exception of the one that I really hope is Chatillon. So, Björn, please reveal and see how wrong I was. If I was completely wrong, we will not send this movie at all. Okay, let's see what we have. So the first one was the Magnum, and that was
Quator 15.
Quator 15, yeah, something like that. Magnum. Then we had 16. A little bit surprised. I thought it was more matured than 16. It was a little bit flabby and fatter in comparison. Then,
and of course, spotted Le Chatillon 18. So great origin, great vintage.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's really beautiful. And then we had a rather flabby and quite fat.
We jump to 12.
12, okay.
Dignitas Grand-Père.
I didn't see that coming, but it's logical when I look. Yeah.
Then we have 5 very discrete versions of the Omnes.
Yeah, the old vines in this specific plot in Berger, Les Vertus, isn't it?
Faloise. So
Faloise.
From 16.
Uh-huh.
And then we jump to 15.
It's all... Oh,
14.
so it's all the way.
You see your pattern.
So it's the 13, which is my winner of the Omnes.
So 13. And ending up with
12.
12.
Ah, cool, really cool. I didn't get the vintages, and I'm a little bit surprised that 13 is so good. But it's not so strange because 13 is a very clean vintage. It's a little bit light, it's a little bit short, but it's a cool vintage. So it's refinement, it's developing slowly, and I think the house style benefits from that style. So that was not to show Hatt and Söner, but they got this show anyway. It was just more, do these kind of things yourself. Do it with 1 or 2 champagnes. Do it with your best friend. Change the order for the other one and play this game. It's the way to understand wine much better. See you next Friday, guys.